as parents, what do parents need to know about AI, bearing in mind that their children are realistically either going to be using it already, or if they're not using it already, they're probably going to be using it at some point fairly soon. What are the good things that we need to know about, and then what are the maybe not so good things that we need to know about as well?
Yeah, that is a really great question because it can be a little bit overwhelming with the new technology if it feels like young people are accessing something that you might not fully understand. And it's important to remember with everything I'm going to say that you do not need to be an expert to be able to help your child, because as long as you are aware of the potential risks and open to learning, then you're on the right track with things. Because there are lots of ways that AI can be useful and beneficial for young people. So, to help us get a little bit more insight into how young people are using it, I thought I'd talk about some of the research that we've done as an organization. Because each year, like I said, we host Safer Internet Day in the UK. And this year we focused on AI and safe and responsible use. So we did a bit of research and a big survey with around 2,000 young people and about the same number of parents and carers. And from that, we found that 97% of young people aged 8 to 17 were using it in some form. So pretty much all of the young people of that age. And the most frequent sort of types they were using were voice assistants like Alexa or Google, and AI in search engines as well, like those little summaries you might get at the top of a search. We found that standalone apps like ChatGPT were used by 30% of those surveyed at least once a week, and daily by 16% of 8 to 12s and 24% of teens. And we also found that children engage with AI in social media or messaging apps, with 22% of them doing this daily, and in gaming as well, with things like characters or help guides, which had 18% of young people doing that daily. And
Alexa,
sorry, Ellen, did you say something?
sorry.
Oh, don't
No,
worry. With all this use of AI, it's nice to know that we found that the overwhelming majority of young people have seen AI used in positive ways, with over half of them thinking that AI can help make the world a better place. And some of the most popular uses were for fun or to play or to help with homework or studying, a bit like we were hearing about with some of the university students earlier. And we also found that around a third of young people were using it to make or edit music, videos, or pictures, to help with everyday things like setting timers or turning off the lights, to do their schoolwork for them, and to help them in online games or to write messages or texts. We also found that a smaller but significant number of people are using it for emotional support. So that was around 1 in 10 young people were doing things like asking it for help with personal issues, for friendship or companionship, or to talk about things they didn't feel like they could talk about anyone else with anyone else. So from that bit of the research, I've really taken away that AI is already being used in so many different ways by young people. And with that role that it plays in young people's lives, there are, of course, some risks that it's important for parents and carers to be aware of. And one of these is around learning and plagiarism. This is a risk because learners might use AI to complete schoolwork, which means that in some cases they may not be gaining those skills or knowledge that they would have gained by completing this themselves. But of course, there can be a balance with this, as some schools allow elements of AI to be used to help assist, and some things like we were just hearing about are going to be really useful for learning. But of course, that temptation is still there for some young people. It could also be that AI is used as part of online sexual harassment, which is any unwanted sexual behavior on any online platform, where young people may harass or bully their peers, for example, by changing images to make them sexual or by using nudification apps. And to be clear, nudification is where generative AI is used to create an image or edit an existing image of someone so that they appear nude. And it is important to know that this imagery of under 18s is still illegal, even if it's created by AI. Another risk of AI is that it can lead to unreliable information, with people creating things like deepfakes, where someone is saying or doing something that they never did. And often these can be quite hard to distinguish from real imagery. They can also be used to make scams more realistic as well. And another concern is that AI may be biased depending on what it's been trained on, then it can perpetuate any bias in the outputs it gives. There also has some risks to do with chatbots, which are becoming pretty prevalent for young people. And these are those sorts of AI that respond to you like a human would respond to you. So that's things like ChatGPT, voice assistants, or some that are built into apps like Snapchat's My AI is quite a big one for young people. And the risk that this can pose could be that a young person might not think critically about the advice given, that they might become too reliant on them, or if a child is using AI for advice or companionship and not speaking to a trusted adult, they might not receive the right support or might become increasingly isolated from the people around them. While some chatbots do have safeguards, then these aren't always reliable, and children will need to think critically about the information and advice that they receive from AI. And I know I've just shared a lot of information, but one thing that I'd really want parents to know is that not every risk is going to become a harm for every child. But being aware of those risks means that you can be there to support your child with them. So, although it might sound like a lot, hopefully it's good to know about.